Good morning everyone. Today I am going to discuss about the computer organization subject unit 4. So coming to the topic, serial communication. So serial communication. In previous classes we have discussed some topics about this unit 4. Now I am going to discuss about the serial communication. So what is meant by serial communication? In serial communication, each bit in the message in the serial communication, each bit in the message is sent in sequence at a time. So this method requires the use of one pair of conductors or one conductor and a common ground. So what is mean this? So whatever the communication occurring between the devices, so that communication is occurred in serial way, okay, serial fashion. So whatever the communication we are performing between the two devices, so that communication is in serial form. So whatever each bit in a message, so every bit I have the message, so that is sent in a sequence at one at a time. So one at a time. So at the time one bit of message I will be sent in a serial way. So this method requires the use of one pair of conductors or one pair of conductors or one conductor and a common ground. So advantages of serial communication is it is less expensive since it requires only one pair of conductors. It is used for long distance. So advantages is what ma? It is less expensive. So according to the cost, it is a very less expensive, and it requires only a one pair conductors, and it used for a long distance. So this serial communication is used for long distance of communication. So that is the advantages of this serial communication. Next, disadvantages. What is disadvantages? Serial transmission is slower, so it is very slow, so it will be communicate very slow, but it will be advantages, it will be communicate in a long distance, okay, it will be communicate in long distance but very slow in transmission, okay. So this is the disadvantages. So data can be transmitted between 2 points in 3 different modes. So data can be transmitted in 2 points. So data is transmitted in 2 points. It means A and B. You take A and B are the 2 points, and I will transfer the data in 3 different modes. So okay, now what is those modes? Simplex mode, half duplex mode, and full duplex mode. So the data can be transmitted between 2 points. That points is called A and B. You think assume that point A and point B, these are the two devices. Between the two devices I am going to transmit the data in 3 different modes, that is half duplex, simplex mode, full duplex mode. So now I am going to explain about what is the simplex mode. So simplex mode means what? So the line carries information in one direction only. So the simplex mode is the only one direction. The line will be carries in one direction only. So this mode is used in data communication because the receiver cannot communicate with the transmitter to indicate the occurrence of errors. So in this we doesn't have any occurrence of errors. We don't occur any errors because only transmitter only transmit the data to the destination, to the receiver. The transmitter only transmit the data to the receiver. The receiver does not communicate with the transmitter. So it is a one-way communication. One-way communication, only line carries the information. The lines between the device A and device B. Device A is the transmitter and device B is the receiver. So transmitter will be send the data, that will be send the information in only one direction. So in other at the receiver side we don't have any communication with the transmitter. So we doesn't have any indicate so transmitter to indicate the occurrence of errors. So this example is radio or television broadcasting, okay. Radio or television broadcasting, it means what? Why this example I am talking? So radio or television, only that will be give the information to the user, that will only, so that television and radio is the transmitter, and who are listening, who are gathering that information is called the receiver. So the receiver doesn't communicate with the television and radio. The television only communicate with the transmitter receiver, okay. So the radio and transmitter television broadcasting is nothing but transmitter, and those who are listening, those are receivers. Okay, the receiver doesn't communicate with the transmitter, and transmitter give the information or message to the receiver. So that is the main use of simplexer. So next coming to second one is the half duplex. What is mean by half duplex? Transmission system. So transmission system is one that is capable of transmitting in both direction, but data can be transmitted only in one direction at a time. Only one direction at a time. So both directions, the transmission is capable of transmitting transmitting in both directions. Okay, but data can be transmitted only one direction at a time. Okay, a pair of wires is needed for this mode. So in the half duplex mode, between the two devices, you think device A and device B. Okay, device A is the transmitter and device B is the receiver. So in the first one we told that only one line will be there. In that one line only data is transmitted to the receiver. The receiver doesn't communicate with the transmitter, but here both direction, at both direction they have communication. Okay, but only transmitter only sends the data. Okay, only transmitter have rights to send the data. It only responds, the receiver only responds to the transmitter. Okay, the transmission system, in this transmission system we have capable of transmitting in both the directions, but data can be transmitted only one direction at a time. Data only transmitted by the transmitter only, but whatever the data he received by the receiver, he just give the response that I get the information from you, that like so it sends the acknowledgement. So one direction only, the communication only one direction, but it just responds to the other direction. So we need the two pair of wires needed for this mode. Okay, so walkie-talkie is the example for this. Okay, and next coming to full duplex. So third one is a full duplex. So full duplex transmission can send and receive data, receive data in both directions simultaneously. This can be achieved by means of four-wire link with the different pair of wires dedicated to each direction of transmission. So in full duplex, both direction will be transmit with each other. The sender will also transmit and receiver also transmit simultaneously in both directions. So okay, this can be achieved by means of in this we are using four-wire links with a different pair of wires. So this is dedicated in each direction of transmission. Example, telephone. Okay, so these are the three modes of three different modes which is used between the two transmission, two points. So okay, so transmission data can be transmitted in 2 points with three different possibilities, three different modes, that is simplex mode, half duplex mode and full duplex mode. So this is the explanation of this. Next coming to next coming to the character oriented protocol. So what is mean by character? So before going to explain this character oriented protocol, the communication lines. So whatever the communication lines we are using, so modems and other equipment used in the transmission of information between two or more stations is called data link. So whatever the communications we are using between the 2 points in order to transmit the information, that can be a data link. Okay, that can be a modem. Okay, and communication lines. The communication lines, modems and other equipment used in the transmission of information between two or more stations is called, we can say that, data link. Okay, the orderly transfer of information in a data link is accomplished by means of a protocol. A data link control protocol is a set of rules that are followed by interconnecting computers and terminals to ensure the orderly transfer of information. So we are transmitting the information through the data link, which is accomplished by means of protocol. So a data link control protocol is having the set of rules. We have to follow that set of rules and interconnecting the computers and terminals to the orderly transfer of information. In order to transfer the information. Okay, so the purpose of data link protocol is establish and terminate a connection between two stations. So why we are using the data link protocol? In order to establish and terminate the connection between two stations, to identify the sender and receiver, that all messages are passed correctly without errors, and handle all the control functions involved in a sequence of data transfer. So protocols are divided into two major categories. So according to the message framing technique used, according to the message framing techniques used. So these are a character oriented protocol, bit oriented protocol. So what is mean? The protocols are divided into two major categories according to the message framing and technique used. So these are called character oriented protocol and bit oriented protocol. So coming to the character oriented protocol. So what is mean by character oriented protocol? So this is the diagram of the character oriented protocol. So this is the name of typical message format for character oriented protocol. So the message format will be arranged in this format. Okay. So first having the synchronization. First two synchronize characters assure proper synchronization at the start of message. So at the start of message we are using the two synchronization characters. So following the synchronization characters in the header, following the SOH is a SOH start of heading. Okay, SOH is the start of heading. So following the synchronization character in the header, which starts with an SOH start of heading character. So the header consists of address and control information. So at the header field, it contains the address and control information. So next coming to STX, STX means XTX character. So what is XTX character? Terminates the start of text. Okay, start of text. So the STX character terminates the header and signifies the beginning of the text transmission. So next coming to text portion. In the text portion message is variable in length and may contain any ASCII character except the communication control characters. So what is mean? In the text field, the text portion of the message is variable in length and may contain the ASCII character except the communication control characters. Okay. So next coming to text field. So the text field is terminated with the end of the text. The text field is terminated with the end of text character. So the last field is the BCC, block check character, used for error checking. So this is the format of the character oriented protocol. So okay, first two is the synchronization characters. We have this is the proper synchronization at the start of the message. So after following the synchronization characters in the header, which starts the header starts with the start of heading character. So next header consists of address and control information. STS means character terminates the header and signifies beginning of the text transmission. Text portion of the message is variable of length and may contain ASCII characters except the communication control characters. Text field is terminated with the end of the text, and the text field and BCC last field is the BCC, that is the block check character for error correct checking. So these are the fields available in the character oriented protocol. So in this it is usually either longitudinal redundancy check LRC or cyclic redundancy check CRC. The receiver accepts the message and calculates its own BCC. So if the BCC transmitted does not agree with the BCC calculated by the receiver responds with a negative acknowledgement character. So the message is retransmitted and checked again. So the retransmission will be typically attempted several times before it is assumed that the line is faulty. When the transmitted BCC matches the one calculated by the receiver, the response is positive acknowledgement using the acknowledgement character. So next coming to, this is called the bit character oriented protocol. Next coming to bit oriented protocol. So what is mean by bit oriented protocol? This is the diagram of the bit oriented protocol. So in this I having the flag, address, control, information, frame check, flag. So what is mean by frame? The frame starts with the flag. The frame starts with the flag followed by an address and control sequence. The information field is not restricted in format or content and can be any length. So the frame check field, the frame check field is CRC. The frame check field is a CRC, cyclic redundancy check sequence used for detecting errors in transmissions. The ending flag indicates to receiving station and that the 16-bit just received constitute the CRC bits. So the ending frame can be followed by the another frame, another flag, another frame and another flag. So when two frames follow each other, the intervening flag is simultaneously ending flag of the first frame and the beginning flag of the next frame. If no information is exchanged, the transmitter sends a series of flags to keep the line into active state, So this is the explanation of the bit oriented protocol. Next coming to recommended standard 232C RS 232C. So in this RS 232 was first introduced in 1962 by the radio sector of the Electronic Industries Association. So EIA, Electronic Industry Association, EIA, for connecting serial devices. So RS 232 is a long established standard that describes the physical interface and protocols for relatively low speed serial data communication between computers and related devices. For example, teletype writer device, teletype writer device. So RS 232 is the interface that your computer uses a talk to the exchange data with your modem and other serial devices. So RS 232C is defined as the interface between data terminal equipment and data communication equipment using serial binary data exchange. So next serial binary exchange. So this is the recommended standard 232C. So the RS 232C is now widely used for direct communication between two acquisition devices and computer system. The RS 232C capables are commonly available with 4, 9 or 25 pin wiring. So the RS 232 serial port was once a standard feature of a personal computer used for connection to modems, printers, mice, data storage, uninterruptible power supplies and other peripheral devices. So in RS 232, user data is sent as a time series of bits. Both synchronous and asynchronous transmissions are supported by the standard. So in addition to data circuits, the standard defines a number of control circuits used to manage the connection between DTE and DCE, since the transmit data and receive data are separate circuits. The interface can operate in a full duplex manner, supporting concurrent data flow in both directions. So 9-pin RS 232 standard is shown in this diagram. So having the 9-pin D-type connector and 25-pin D-type connector. So having 1 to 9 connectors, D-type connector. 9-pin D-type connector and 25-pin D-type connector. So these are the two connectors we are having. So universal serial bus, USB universal serial bus is a industry standard developed in mid 1990s that defines the mode of cables, connectors and communication protocols used in bus for connection, communication and power power supply between computers and electronic devices. So USB was designed to standardize the connection of computer peripherals to personal computers. Example, keyboard, digital cameras, printers, portable media layers, disk drives and network adapters. So USB has effectively replaced a variety of earlier interface such as serial and parallel ports as well as separate power chargers for portable devices. So next USB 1. USB 1 is a full speed released in January 1996. USB 1 specified data rates of 1.5 megabits per second, lower bandwidth and 12 megabits per second, that is full bandwidth. So USB 2.0 high speed. So USB 2.0 released in April 2000 added higher maximum signaling rate of 480 megabits per second and USB 3.0 super speed. USB 3.0 was released 2008. The standard claims a theoretical maximum transmission speed of up to 5 gigabits per second, and USB 3.0 reduces the time required for data transmission, reduces power consumption and in backward compatible with USB 2.0. Okay. So next I am having the system design. So this is the system design. In this I am having the host controller and device. Between that I am having the logical pipes, and at the device rectangle I am having the endpoints in the device. So here the USB, USB host may implement multiple host controller, and each host controller may provide a more USB ports. So up to 127 devices including hub device if present may be connected to a single host controller. So USB devices are linked in series through hubs. One hub built into the host controller is that root hub. The USB device communication is based on ports. A pipe is connection from the host controller to a logic entity found on device and named an endpoint. A USB device can have up to 32 endbits through USB devices. Seldom have this many endpoints. An endpoint is built into the USB device by that manufacturer and therefore exists permanently, while pipe may be opened and closed. So this is the main explanation of this design system. Next, coming to features, that is a simple connectivity, simple capables, one interface for many devices, automatic configuration, speed, reliability, low cost, low power consumption, flexibility, operating system support. So these are the features of the USB. Next, what is mean by simple connectivity? With USB, there is no need to open the computer enclosure to add an expansive cord for each peripherals. That is the first one, simple connectivity. Next is simple cables. The USB cable connector are keyed to so you cannot plug them in wrong. Okay, so that is a simple cables. Next, coming to one interface for many devices. So the USB is versatile enough to be usable with many kinds of peripherals with no need of having a different connectors and protocols for each peripherals. So that is the third one, that is one interface for many devices. Next, fourth one, automatic configuration. So when a user connects a USB peripherals, to a password system, powered system, Windows automatically detects the peripherals and loads the appropriate software driver for it. So next coming to speed. So different versions of USB provides different data rates. So next reliability. The USB protocol enables detecting the data errors and notify the senders so it can retransmit. Next is seventh one, low cost. So USB components and capables are inexpensive. Next to low power consumption, it consumes low power and that is useful on battery powered computers. Next is ninth one, flexibility. So USB can guarantee a transfer rate suitable for exchanging large blocks of data. So that is called flexibility. Next, operating system support. So Windows 98 was the first Windows operating system to reliability support USB, and its successors such as Windows 2000 supports USB as well. So next coming to IEEE 1394. So a very fast external bus standard that supports the data transfer rate of the 400 milli per second in 400 millibits per second and 800 megabits per second and 800 megabits per second in 1394B. So supporting the 1394 standard go under different names depending on the company. So Apple, which originally developed the technique, uses the trademarked name fireware. So this is the cable we are having. This is the IEEE 1394 high speed serial bus will change the transport of digital data for computers and consumer electronic conductors. Okay, so I have some fast data transfer rates. First one is digital interface. First one is a digital interface. So what is mean by digital interface? So 100, 200 or 400 megabits per second. Next, digital physical fast data transfer. Fast data transfer means 100, 200 or 400 megabits per second. Next, digital interface. No need to convert the digital data into analog and tolerance a loss of data integrity. Next, physically small. So what is mean by physically thin serial capable can replace the larger more expensive interface. Next, easy to use. So easy to use, no need for terminators. Device IDs or device this device with the bus so having the physically small, the thin serial capable can replace a larger more expansive interface. Next, easy to use, so no need for terminators, device IDs or elaborate setup. So next, hot pluggable. So user can add and remove 1394 device with the bus active using rugged connections and capables. Next is scalable architecture. So able to mix 100, 200 and 400 megabits per second device on a bus. So next is self-configuring, no need for address switches, flexible topology, up to 63 devices on up to 1023 buses with the maximum of 16 hops and up to 4.5 meters between each devices. But bus management, it efficient for both large and small configurations. So both synchronous and synchronous data transfer. So granted a bandwidth with a low overhead for isochronous data transfer. The 3-layer architecture consistent with IEEE 1212 control and status register architecture specifications, ensuring future architectural compatibility. A fair arbitration system allows all nodes appropriate access to the bus. Next, reduce buffer cost. So, guaranteed delivery of with critical data, reduce costly buffer requirements. Proprietary listening is not required. So, next coming to PCI, peripheral components interconnect. So, what is a PCI was introduced by Intel in 1992. PCI is a serial bus to which many different devices can be attached in order to give computer extended capabilities. Okay. So, in this we having features, that is PCI provides direct access to system memory for the device that are connected to the bus, which is then connected through the bridge that connects to the front side of bus. PCI bus is designed to support a variety of microprocessor based configurations, including both single and multiprocessor systems. The PCI bus can operate concurrently with the processor bus. The CPU can be processing data in external cache, while PCI bus is busy transferring information between other parts of the system. PCI makes use of synchronous timing and centralized arbitration scheme. This configuration followed by for higher performance without slowing down the processor. PCI bus was originally 33 with 33 megahertz and then changed to 63 megahertz. So, next coming to benefits of the PCI. So, PCI benefits originally 33 megahertz and then changed to 63 megahertz. So, PCI benefits from the higher rate of data transfer as compared to ESI and external device connected through USB. Each device connected to the PCI bus has shared access to the primary resource of the computer through a parallel connections. So, there are three features that make the PCI bus one of the faster input-output bus used today. So, that is burst mode, allow multiple sets of data to be sent, and next full bus. So, this is full bus mastering, the ability of device on the PCI bus to perform transfers directly, and next high bandwidth options allow for increased speed of PCI. So, this is the diagram I having. This is the processor, this is the main memory, and this is the host bridge, north bridge, and this is the motherboard and PCI local bus. This is the Ethernet PCI hyper transport bridge. This is PCI ISA bridge legacy, and this is the PCI slots, and this is the 64-bit sound card, VGA graphics card, and DVD accelerator card. So, this is the motherboard of the system. So, up to here we have completed the first part of the unit 4 in computer organization. Next I am going to continue the unit 4 part 2. Okay, thank you.